at AML department at GM University, and here my friends Rajat and Altaf and Shriyari, they are also pursuing at AML department at the GM University, and today I am explaining the code about the Windows, and in this code the explanation starts from the line number 1 to 2 that includes necessary headers windows.h for in Windows API functions and stdio.io for standard input and output, and then line number 4 to 9 declares a function that are infinity work which runs indefinitely in a loop intended for use a thread function, but it is not utilized in the provided code, and then it is intended and in the line number 11 to 27 that is called a main function, and line number 12 enters a infinity loop at to repeatedly create a new process, and line number 13 to 17 shows and declares that the initializes startup info and process information structures to manage process creation, and then uses zero memory to set up the structures to zero, and sets CB to the size and startup info requires a create process, and then last line number 19 to 22 calls create process to span a new process running child program.exe dot. If the function fails, then the prints an error message with the code error and consists with the status 1, and line number 23 to 24 closes the process and thread handles returned by the create process to avoid resource leaks. Then line number 25, this line number 25 is repeats the process creation indefinitely, and then line number 26 to 27 shows ends the program, and unreachable due to the infinity loop in main function. And next, my friend Rajat will explaining you the what are the errors in the code about the Windows. Continue to Rajat. Pause madini, pause madini. Rajat, ready?
Thank you, Sharath. Myself, Rajat Eshet. I am pursuing my engineering degree on AML in GM University. In this code, we find errors like infinite loops due to non-functioning of child program in line number 20, where where file is not found. The program continuously creates infinite loops that causes error in this code. We can overcome this error by creating a child program in simple manner without any infinite loops in this code. In line number 12, in while functions, this led to high CPU usage, where high CPU usage leads to running of unless codes, which terminates maximum errors like infinite work, and in startup information and in process information, zero memory, and in line number 17, where size is not determined correctly, and in line number 20, child program is not defined, and that leads to infinite loops. And in line number 21, create process failed with error is not existed because there is a logical error in this program. And in line number 24 and 25, there is a code error where handling the error we can change this code. Next, my friend Altaf will explain about Linux code. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajat. Now I'm going to explain about the Linux program. In the Linux program, from line number 1 to 4, this lines includes the standard library headers, which are stdio.h, which is used for input and output, and uniistd.h for fork and related system calls. And fork is referred to as creating a new process. It is referred to creating a new process by duplicating an existing one which exists since before, and yeah, types.h for data types, and stdblib.h for exit. From line 6 to 10, this line defines the infinite work function. This line defines the infinite work function which runs the infinite loop, simulating some ongoing work in the child processes. And in the lines were 12 to 24 are the main functions which are responsible for a main code. The line 13 starts an infinite loop that repeatedly creates a child process using for. And line 14 calls for frog to create a new process. Uh, the parent process continues execution. In line of 14, the parent process continues execution and the child process starts the executing from the same point where the parent child left. From the line 15 to 17, if the fork fails, print an error message and exist with status 1. If the fork is given as a fail output, then it will print an error message. And from line 18 to 21, if a frog is successfully executed, the child processes execute the infinite work function and calls the exit 0. And in line 22, parent process continues the loop. In line 22, the parent process will continue the loop and create a more processes. And in the line 20 through to 24, it will return a 0, which will indicate the successful running of the program. Now my friend Shriyari will explain about the errors.
Thank you, Altaf. Myself, Shriyar Yes, sir. I am explaining the lenience code error. In line number 13, infinite fork bomb, the while loop in the main function creates an infinite number of child process by repeatedly calling fork without any termination coordination. Each call to fork creates a new process, and the parent process contains two more children infinite loop. This behavior quickly the number of active process in the system. The operating system has a infinite process table to track all active process, continues creation a child process, fills up the table preventing the creation of new process and potential causing system instability. The memory and resource are also consumed for each new process, leading to system crash of serve perform degradation. And when a child process terminates, its exit status is held in the process the stable until the parent process reaches the using wait wait a terminated process that has not been cleaned up is known as a zombie process. In this code, the parent process does not call wait to clean up child process. This result in zombie process accumulating in the system. The process occupy entire in the process table, further reducing the system capacity to create new process. Over the system may become unresponsive as the process table become filled the zombie process. Inside the child process, the infinite work function contains infinite loop. This means the program flow will never reach the exit 0 statement that flow that call to infinite work. The exit 0 is rebounded because the program execution never exits infinite loop in infinite work. This infinite loop in the main function runs at full speed without any delay. Which iterations a new child process, and this occurs continuously without pause. Similarly, in this infinite loop, in infinite work also runs at maximum speed, consuming significant CPU resource. This CPU overhead as the parent process and all child process continuously consume processing time. This may be lead to significant perform drop or make this system responsible. Thank you.
And here's the difference between the about the Windows and Linux system. The first thing is syntax and structure. Linux in this Linux uses the unlike syntax and structures with the focus, portability and flexibility. In the Windows that are users with the specific syntax and structure with a focus of easy and user integration with the Windows API system. And second one is file system. In the Linux, uses a hierarchical file system with a root directory. In the Windows, that are uses a hierarchical file system with a root directory C hashtag, and in the Linux only uses the slash thing. And the third one is process management. In the Linux, uses a fork Excel model for the process creation and management. And the Windows, they are using create process API for the process creation and management. And fourth one is memory management. In the Linux, uses a virtual memory system with the paging and swapping system. And the Windows, they are uses a virtual memory system with a paging and swapping, but also includes additional features like address space layout and randomization. And the last thing is networking. And in the Linux, they are uses the Berkeley sockets API for a networking system. And the Windows, they are using WinSock API for networking. And these are the difference between the about the Windows and Linux. And I'm ending this session. Thank you, my friends. Thank you all.